What's up, friends? This is Manni, and welcome to a massive pilot rework here on the War test server with tons of quality of life improvements, even some sort of balancing, maybe slightly, but no economy changes this far, or so far. That sounds promising. Let's go through the list together and show you what you can expect from the next upgrade or update here in War. We have an update made by Shredder Blitz of the community manager of Pixonic, and by the way, it still says Pixonic. To the community pilot updates. Hi everyone, it's Shredder from War and bringing you the new update. Pilot system improvements, okay? Our plan is to add specialty tags to the pilot portraits. It's done. There are 121 of them, so it's a lot of work and a lot of differences. You see, I believe that this is what they mean, the specialty. This guy just gives you a damage boost slight. This guy here will, or she will give you some healing bonuses. This is some, I don't know, shield or resistance or something, and so on. Okay, so I believe that is the specialty tags that they mean. Then there is a prioritization when you search for pilots. So you go for the training center or here, and when you have, for example, the, let's say the Ao Guang equipped, then you go to change, and you first get the pilots that will go for the Ao Guang. In this case, it's Kang Strong, right? So there's a prioritization that makes sense. And also in the training center, if you go and you want to, do I have a robot? Yeah, this one does not have a pilot. So you go to the training center, and you first, if you don't have one here that works, you know, it would be all the way to the left. In the training center, you will only get the pilots here that work for the Pathfinder. In this case, it's John Ostred or Manny. Hey Manny, how you doing, buddy? Nice, good to see you. Cannot be hired in the training center though. Oh. But yeah, so you'll only get the pilots that work with the change. But wait, where's Adrian? Wouldn't Adrian's pilot work as well? He should, right? But yeah, so there's that. But feedback, Adrian's pilot was missing here. And I think he should be universal as well on all robots, right? Anyways, so the prioritized search. Then we had filters, or we have filters right here. So if there's a new button with where you can select all pilots, or pilots for the selected robots, or pilots for the selected equipment as well, which makes sense, right? Feedback. I would like to see, not just for pilots, for weapons, robots, titans, modules, everything, an extra button or a search field where we can type in MA, for example, and you get only Manny. Or you can, in the weapons category, type in ATO, and you'll get to all atomizers you have. All the different skin ones, and all the different leveled ones. It would make the life so much easier to be able to just type in 2 initials and filter the list by those. I mean, this is really like a level 1 feature in my opinion. Should have been in the game 5 years ago, and it should definitely make its appearance now. So would be cool if you could add that, Pixonic. Then we have the filters. Add card view options for pilot. I believe what they mean is this, that you can click on it and you see all the skills and also what they do, right? And you see there's already a new pilot. I'll show you why. Also, allow selling duplicates in a bulk. So if you have too many pilots, you can click on this and you can tap this up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and sell. Now, I don't know what pilots sell for. I never tried selling a pilot. Will you get AG, like silver? Or will you get memoriam for it? It seems like you're getting silver. And even for a legendary, you will be getting silver, right? Yeah. Why? Because you're investing a lot of memoriam potentially into these pilots. So shouldn't you be getting memoriam out of it back? Or maybe you get both? I don't know. But it seems like you're getting just silver. Which doesn't make too much sense, because silver is like for equipment, like... and you buy pilots with gold, right? And silver is for like weapons and stuff. Yeah, anyways. Integrate ordinary pilots into different tier levels of legendary pilots. The rank and file can hardly compete with the legendaries, and commanders rarely call them anymore. So, you can expect the remaining 3 changes to go live during the 11.0. When it happens, pilot tiers will also become a thing. With pilot tiers, they mean the colors, right? This is tier 1. Tier 2, I don't have one, that would be blue. And tier 3 is epic, and tier 4 is legendary. Now, we'll order all pilots into 4 tiers so that they better correspond with their focus gear. Tier 1, all newbie pilots with no unique skills for specific robots or weapons. Like this guy here, for example, he just brings increased damage, right? And it's for Kang Day, because that's the weapon that was equipped. And that is just the first pilot skill, but he doesn't have a specialty skill like, for example, Gina has here, with increased Raptor skills. So that's what they mean here. And they all look the same in their mass-produced armor, and the command center labels every single one of them simply as newbie. You can train them as usual up to level 70 and give them skills from the same pool as the others, similar to the pre-updated ordinary pilots, though newbies cannot upgrade their skill past purple tier 3. Okay, so you can get purple skills, but not legendary skills, which is only available to legendary pilots, I think. Or maybe even to tier 2, I'm not sure. Tier 2 pilots who specialize in classics. Most of the tier 2, and that's interesting, like Rhino or Lancelot, will now have their dedicated pilots with unique skills. Think sturdier physical shields, damage bonuses, and maybe even built-in last stands. The unique skill will occupy its own slot and on top of the 7 ordinary slots, just as with the current legendary pilots. These guys are professional enough for commanders to remember their names, so they have unique names, and they will be for classic robots like Lancelot, Rhino, maybe the Stalker, and so on, right? So, and they will bring a dedicated unique skill for these robots. So in that light, I think we're getting some new skills for all the new older classic robots maybe too. That would be very interesting, right? To run them with those skills and see what they do. I would like to know who gets the last stand. Is it the Lancelot maybe? Unfortunately, on the test server, I cannot equip a Lancelot. In the store, you only have the new stuff, and in inventory, also only the things you came with. And there is no Lancelot. The Behemoth counts as a legendary too. Okay, so at tier 3, old acquaintances like Marie Leclerc and Jack Moore. These are the same pilots that you currently have in your roster. There will be no changes to their skills, naming, or portraits. They will simply receive the purple backing to represent their affiliation with the epic tier. All pilots who specialize in tier 3 robots or weapons belong to this tier. That would be, for example, the Mercury, right? Which we have right here. Boom, Mercury pilot. That would be in the training center. Jat Parks is the only one that is being listed here. But also here, isn't it weird that the Manni pilot doesn't appear now? Although the Manni pilot obviously also works for the Mercury. Similar to the Adrian pilot not appearing before to this one, right? Weird. So a little bit of a few quirks that may need to be sorted out here. At least on the test server, that looks like it's the case. Then we have tier 4, the main fighting force. No change here as well. All new pilots belong in the legendary tier list, and they have background and skill to prove that the legendary yellow-orange background. Now, important, ordinary pilots. When the change goes live, all of your ordinary pilots will be merged into tier 1. They will lose their unique portraits and bios, but they will get a transition, but the transition will not affect their level skills. Or the level, or skills. For example, if you had 11 ordinary skills in your roster before the update, you will see 11 newbie pilots standing at attention when the update drops. They will have exactly the same level and skill as your ordinary pilots had before. However, in the light of the change, all of us who had ordinary pilots before the rework will, instead of getting newbies, will get veterans, right? With a different portrait and the status of veteran. Okay, that is cool. It's a one-time thing for all of us who had ordinary pilots before the rework. Basically a special present by Pixonic, and although they can't do something special, they will have a separate portrait and the veteran status. These veterans are exclusive to accounts which had ordinary pilots before the 11.0 update. You can only get them as part of the transition to the pilot tier system. It would be cool if they if they would count as tier 2. But obviously tier 2 it doesn't work because it's like for specific classics already. But yeah, so they will be special still in some way. We decided to merge ordinary pilots into the ununified tier 1 because they were rarely used. For example, less than 1% of level 30 players who deployed a Lynx robot have an ordinary pilot equipped to the robot. Less than 1%. Most of the time it's either Sati Felide with 52% or Levi Hickok with 29% being used. But you know, what's going on with the missing 81%? What's with the missing... No, this is 81%. So what's with the missing 19% or 18%? In the case of the Imugi, it's less than 1% ordinary pilots. 43% people chose Mao Ling and 31% Monique Lenormand. And maybe the remaining percent are Manni's and Adrian's, right? Maybe. The same goes for the Curie. Less than 1% ordinary and 83% So Pilot. Soe. Alright, cool. Fun fact, we see that 2% of Curie deployments at level 30 happened without a pilot. That'll do. Well, Pixonic, in case you don't know, that's hard mode. The training center, we also relocate the training center from the main menu. There's no more going to be a button here, it's already gone. The way to access the training center is like you access drones in your robot menu, just like that, okay? That's how you've all been doing it anyways, so no change really. But there's a button gone in the main hangar menu, which we never really needed anyways. So that button is gone. And the pilot upgrading costs, here comes the important part. The focus of this update is technical polish and quality of life improvements. So there will be no change in the pilot economy this time. Whoa, let's scroll into the word. Where is it? Hold on. I can't find it now. I'm too close. This time, it says, there will be no change this time. That makes me a little scared, actually. There it is. This time. The recruitment costs. Recruitment costs are the only exception. They will be lower for tier 2 and 3 pilots. Upgrade costs will remain the same across all 4 tiers, no matter if it's a random rookie or a veteran Ponchi. They all require the same amount of brain juice to learn. Now, you can test this all on the test server this weekend. Now, I wish there would be like a bit of an option for players who simply cannot spend as much, who are very limited on their resources, that they know they can specialize in going into a smaller tier 2 or tier 3 pilot and get cheaper upgrades for this pilot skills, even though they also know that they won't be able to max a pilot out in the pilot skills to legendary ranks on the skills, right? So it would be cool if there was an option for a player to choose a cheaper road that doesn't go as high in the specialization, you know? Just for those who know they won't be able to afford a maxed pilot. I think that would be a nice opportunity to give a bit of a alternate route for the player who can't afford anything in terms of pilots and memoriam. But yeah, so that's the pilot change. I think it all summarized everything here pretty well. So let me know what you think about that. I'm specifically worried about the this time part, that there is no economy change tied to it. Let's see what this time means in the future. And other than that, I hope you have a wonderful weekend, my friends. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and stay ready here and tuned on updates on War Robots and so on. So catch you in the next video. Manni signing off, and bye-bye, my friends.